What is up, everybody? This is Matthew Ogle with VYPE Media. I'm here with the brand new coach of Fort Bend Christian Academy, Coach Ben Hoffmeier. You told me you go by Coach Hoff.
Yeah.
So tell me, you're coming over after being the defensive coordinator at Jacksonville High School. Clearly, you've had a lot of experience, given all that I read about your article. You've been with Houston Baptist, Wheaton College. You've been the head coach at Brazos Christian. So tell me, given all your experience, what is it that you're hoping to establish with an already uh, impressive program that's been built up at Fort Bend Christian?
Yeah. I took the job not because I expected instant results. Like I know the standards are very high and they've won a lot of football games, but I took the job because I wanted to create lasting results. And so, for me, the coaching football is a ministry and a calling. And so, yes, we want to win football games. And yes, I expect to win a lot of games and hopefully win some championships. But really, for me, it was about having an impact on young men. I want to be a transformational football coach. I want this to be the most transformational football program in America. My goal is to raise up a generation of people who are going to change the world by living with power, passion, purpose, and production. And so I felt like at Fort Bend Christian, I felt simply that God called me to it. And as far as what I can bring to it, it was a huge gift for me to have the opportunity to be the head football coach at Brazos Christian for 4 years. And now having a chance to step into this role, this time with not having teaching duties and being able to do more for the big picture and being able to say, I want to do this job for a very long time and really get to creating a great culture and building on the culture we have and creating a great development system where we're building things from the bottom to the top and being one of the best developmental programs in America. That's really what I want to do, and just really try to shape young men and also shape coaches and coach coaches so that we have a great program.
Out of curiosity, because my brother's a coach as well, what did you teach beforehand?
I've worn a lot of hats. When I was at Brazos Christian, I taught 10th, 11th, and 12th grade Bible. And my background, I actually have a master's degree in theological studies. And then when I went to the public school side, I've taught world history. I've done weight room PE. I've done special education. So I've done a little bit of everything on the education side, just like I have in football as well.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's two sides of that coin because, I mean, given all that my brother tells me, he's currently a coach at West Fork High School, which is like a new up and coming program in New Caney ISD. Anyways, but he tells me just as much as he puts so much emphasis on the teaching side as he does the coaching side.
Yeah.
And obviously, it must take up a lot of time. So now that you're able to primarily focus on the athletic side of your position, I'm sure that's got to take a little bit of weight off your shoulders. And not having to worry about grading papers late at night. Anyways, I saw that, and it says based off of the article that FBCA published that you were a part of a TAPS state championship team in 2016. Who was that with?
So I was the defensive coordinator for Northland Christian when we won the state championship in 2016.
Okay, all right. So clearly you understand what a championship program looks like. And you can go over the X's and O's all day. What are you trying? Because you said you want to build better people for America, people that make a change. Tell me, what is it that you're hoping to instill with the guys? Not just necessarily, this is that Dion Miner?
Bro.
My God, what's up?
Hey, I was just talking about you.
We're going. This is the guy.
All right.
Dion, this is why they invented doors.
Yeah. Yeah, he and I go way back. We're big Steelers fans, both he and I. So that's why we have that tight connection. Anyways,
that's great.
So so there's a lot you can teach kids just through the impact of football. What are you trying to translate to them where it could be something a little less tangible, a little less obvious? Mm-hmm. What do you want them to take from your program that you hope to do?
Sure. So, one of the first things we talk about our core values, and they're pursue excellence, embrace connection, and live free. And we want to define excellence, and excellence is to do a common thing with uncommon discipline, uncommon enthusiasm, and uncommon toughness. And I think there's a lot of tangible things right there for developing men who are going to be husbands and fathers. We define discipline as choosing commitments over comfort. And so, I'm a dad. I've got a 1-year-old and my wife's pregnant, and I have to choose my commitments over my comfort when, my 1-year-old's not as much a nuisance as he was when he was a newborn, but he's crying every 3 hours. And I got a choice. I can choose my commitment or I can choose my comfort. And I think football is just a great vehicle for young men to realize that in order to be the man that God called you to be, you got to choose your commitments, no matter how uncomfortable they make you. We talk a lot about toughness, and for that, I talk about that's choosing your purpose through your pain. And we can endure a lot as men as long as we have a purpose for why we're doing it. So when we're doing it for our teammates that we love in football, we can also learn that we can do that as husbands and fathers, that sometimes we have to choose to do painful things in order to be exactly the husband, exactly the father, exactly the leader of a household that we need to be.
From my experience, I never went to a private school. I was brought up in the Kingwood school, so went to Kingwood Park, but I feel like that was the biggest impact that football had on me. Every single practice, we say the Lord's Prayer at the end of it. It just learning how, and they always would say being a part of the football team is a privilege. It's not a right. It's not something you automatically are given. So I think that mentality is the heart and soul of football. That's why so many people love it. I think the fact of the matter that it is tough. It is difficult to do this day in and day out, especially whenever August rolls around. It sucks. But
it does.
Yeah. And something that we didn't realize is the coaches are out there too. They're sweating their butts off too. They're doing all that. Anyways, so from a defensive perspective, is that going to be your point of emphasis, you think, whenever it comes to the upcoming season, or are you going to try to integrate all the other coaching options that you have with your team?
Could you ask that again?
I'm sorry. I meant is defense going to be your go-to emphasis whenever it comes to a program?
No, we're going to be we're going to have an attack mindset on offense, defense, and special teams. And even though a lot of my background is defense, during my last year at Brazos Christian, I actually called the offense, and I've been around some great coaches. And I was at Houston Baptist University when Zach Kidley came on, and he's somebody that I learned a ton from, even though I was on the defensive side of the ball. And after I got the head coach job at BCS, I actually sat down with him and learned a lot of football. And, all along, I've always wanted to be a head coach. So even though I was working on the defensive side of the ball most of the time, I always took the time to ask offensive coaches questions and little things, offensive coordinators, quarterbacks coaches, O-line coaches. And so I'm going to try to have my hands in both cookie jars, so to speak, because the thing I want to make sure is that we have a really high quality product, that our coaching points are clear, that we have a great system in place on both sides of the ball, as well as special teams. And I think we're going to be great on special teams. We have a phenomenal kicker in Mario Gonzalez. And so that's going to be a huge weapon for us throughout the season. And so we want to take advantage of the opportunity to be great in our specials. So no, I don't want to necessarily just be the defensive head coach. People can think what they want to think, but I'm going to make sure that we're high quality across the board.
Yeah. Given my experience, I can understand where you come from that, because I love my all-time favorite football player is Troy Polamalu from the Steelers. So I love the defensive side of the ball, but whenever I think about football, I think of the offense. So it really doesn't. There's a lot of moving parts to that. So I can completely understand.
I always say that defense is steak and potatoes and offense is ice cream. It's just fun and easy and compared to defense, I think. And that might offend some sensibilities. And the joke I always make is that defensive coordinators are all psychopaths and offensive coordinators are all geniuses. And we know that's not necessarily true, but it certainly feels that way sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely thinking about the pros. I feel like it's much more difficult to stop them from succeeding than it is to succeed.
Well, every new rule that come out seems to help the offense.
Yep. True. So you talk about influences that you've had. Who would you say has been, it doesn't have to be just one person throughout your journey from starting off with the football coaching to now, who would you say has been incremental to your shaping you into the coach that you are now?
Sure, sure. So I think two experiences were really foundational for me as a coach. One was having the opportunity to work at Wheaton College for 4 years and work under Mike Swider, who had coached there for 30 plus years. And, I don't know what the final records are, but he's got to be one of the most winningest coaches in Division III football, and phenomenal man. And a lot of things he said, I repeat now. Learned a ton from him. And then my time at Northland Christian working under David Nelson, he's just a phenomenal coach, and he had a different way of looking at things. And one of the things about me, if you start to get to know the way I think, is I try not to think inside a box. I try not to think the same way every football coach thinks, whether that's how we might relate like lessons the same way, but the way I want to execute a football team and a football practice might look a little different because I want to think outside the box. And I think David Nelson was a guy who thought outside the box and cared deeply for his players and did things a little bit differently in a way that challenged me to grow as a coach and as a man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's becoming a little more common now is the fact that that if you think about it from, I mean, I'm not a huge college football guy. I love college football, but primarily I'm more professional. So I think about whenever I think about coaches that think outside the box, I think of like Andy Reid and early days, Pete Carroll. I mean, Kyle Shanahan now with the 49ers, all those different packages they have. I think that's becoming a little bit more common, and that's why that people can't really keep up with it. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what the future holds for this FBCA program. I know y'all are loaded with athletes. I mean, I know Dion can tell you there's a lot of fast guys like Blake Hamilton ready.
There's no shortage of speed. There's no shortage of speed. That's for sure. We got some kids I'm really excited about. I can't wait to see what they do this fall.
Absolutely. I think we all are. Anyways, thank you so much for your time, Coach. I'm glad we could finally get connected and get to a little bit to know about you. And what the future holds, like I said, for this program. Anyways, thank you so much, Coach, for your time, and really excited for y'all moving forward.
All right. Appreciate you. Thanks so much for your time as well. And we look forward to seeing you guys down the road.
Absolutely.